My wife said she loved me, but behind my back, she was scheming to fake a car crash and run off with my money and her new friend. She thought everything would go smoothly, but when her plan hit a wall, literally, it all spiraled out of control. What happened next? Let's just say it was more of a wreck than she ever expected. But first, let's rewind. Hey, I'm Mark, 30 years old, and yeah, I'm probably the dumbest guy alive. That's pretty much how everything started. I had this smooth life, married to what I thought was the perfect woman, Lisa. 5 years together, dude, and it felt like we were solid. At least that's what I thought until that one Friday. It was one of those days that starts off way too normal, like nothing's gonna happen. You know that calm before the storm feeling? Well, I ignored it. I was chilling on the couch, half watching some random show, when Lisa's voice cut through the air like a damn knife. She was screaming on the phone, and not the "oh my god, guess what" type of scream. No, this was pure rage. The kind that makes you wonder if you're about to get dragged into some shitstorm you never signed up for. I didn't move, though. Just kept staring at the screen like I hadn't heard a thing. Smart, right? Wrong. My gut already knew something was off, but I was too damn comfortable to deal with it. That night, she sat me down, her face all serious like we're about to discuss world peace or something. "Mark," she says, "my mom's in deep trouble. Like, real deep. She's got debts piling up." And I'm sitting there waiting for the punchline. Because seriously, how deep can her mom's problems be? I mean, this is the woman who brags about saving 50 cents on groceries like she's cracked the stock market. But nah, it's real. According to Lisa, her mom's drowning in debts. And get this, they need a big financial hit to fix everything. A big one. So naturally I'm like, "Babe, maybe we can sell the car? Or, hell, I can hit up my folks for a loan." Sounds reasonable, right? Nope. Lisa gives me this dead-eyed look, colder than an Arctic breeze, and waves it off like I just suggested we sell a kidney for fun. That look, man, it was the first real "oh shit" moment. You ever get that feeling when someone you trust just flips the switch on you? Yeah, that was it. Something was seriously off. But me being me, I shrugged it off. I mean, she's my wife, right? What could go wrong? Spoiler. A lot. A couple of days later, Lisa drops this bomb on me. "I've found the perfect solution," she says, like she just discovered the secret to immortality or something. My alarm bells? Oh, they were ringing loud and clear, but I kept my mouth shut because Lisa's always been the kind of person who's into crazy ideas. Like, she's the type who'd see a cliff and think, "let's jump, what's the worst that could happen?" So, she sits me down again, all dramatic, and says, "My friend got a massive insurance payout from a car accident, and I've got a plan." And here it is. The genius move she's been cooking up. She's going to stage her own accident, claim the insurance, and voila, our financial problems are solved. Now, I'm sitting there like, hold up, what the fuck did you just say? My brain's doing backflips, trying to catch up. But here's the messed up part. Some tiny, dumb part of me thought, maybe she's joking. Please tell me she's joking. I mean, who in their right mind decides to crash a car for money? Oh wait, my wife, that's who. I try to play it cool, but inside I'm like, is this for real? Is she actually planning to yeet herself into a wall for cash? But before I can even form a coherent response, she's grabbing my car keys like she's heading out for a Starbucks run. And here's the kicker. She looks so calm about it. Like too calm. I swear she had this weird zen-like vibe going on, as if she was about to do yoga, not stage a freaking disaster. She even gave me this little wink before heading out, like, "Don't worry, babe, I got this." Yeah, sure you do. As soon as she drove off, my stomach did this full-on Olympic gymnastics routine. You know that gut feeling when you know something is about to go terribly wrong, but you're stuck watching it happen in slow motion? That was me, sitting there like an idiot, watching my wife go play crash dummy for some quick cash. I sat in that silence, the tension wrapping around me like a straitjacket, thinking, this is it. My life is about to get very, very weird. An hour later, my phone rings. It's Lisa, and she's in full panic mode, gasping like she just ran a marathon and screaming about how she's been in a car accident on the highway. My heart nearly jumped out of my chest, and I bolted out the door without even thinking. In my head, I'm picturing the absolute worst. Crushed metal, ambulances, blood everywhere. I'm preparing for a scene straight out of a horror movie. I'm flying down the road like a maniac, and by the time I get there, I'm already bracing myself for the disaster. But what do I see? Our car, parked in the middle of the highway like someone tried and failed to recreate a movie crash scene with a $50 budget. I swear, it looked like a toddler could have set this up with a toy car and some glue. Lisa's standing there, looking like she just got off a roller coaster but without a single scratch on her. Not one scratch. She's over by the cops, wailing like she survived the apocalypse. And when I say wailing, I mean full-on dramatic performance like she's auditioning for an Oscar. She's telling the cops about this massive impact that somehow left 0 witnesses and barely a dent on the car. The car itself? Oh, it's got some damage, sure. But not the kind you'd expect from a horrific crash. The side of the car is banged up, and I'm standing there, staring at it, thinking, wait a second. This looks more like she scraped a mailbox, not survived a head-on collision with a semi. Everything about the scene was off. Like the kind of off that makes you question if you've been dropped into some bizarre low-budget soap opera. Then there's Lisa. I try to catch her eye, but she's avoiding me like I'm the IRS coming to collect. She won't look at me, not even for a second. That's when I start piecing it together. Something's up. And whatever it is, I'm not going to like where this is heading. But the weirdest part? The way she was acting around the cops, over-the-top hysterics and all, it felt too rehearsed. Like she'd been planning this, practicing her lines in front of the mirror. I'm standing there watching her spin this whole story about the crash, and it's all I can do to not shout, "Seriously? You expect anyone to buy this shit?" I kept quiet, though. At that point, I wasn't even sure if I was more shocked at the fake accident or the fact that she thought she could actually pull this off. Either way, things just got a whole lot more messed up. Despite every red flag waving in my face like it was the 4th of July, the insurance company actually accepted Lisa's claim. Can you believe that? They didn't even blink twice. It was like they saw a minor fender bender and thought, "Yep, let's hand over a fat check." Meanwhile, Lisa was running around like a kid in a candy store, hitting up lawyers, asking how to speed up the payout process. Her excitement was way too obvious. I mean, come on. Who gets that hyped after a car accident? At first, I wanted to believe her. I really did. But there was this one thing, just a tiny, nagging thought that wouldn't let go of me. The day after the accident, Lisa was walking around the house like she just won the lottery. Seriously, she was glowing, smiling from ear to ear, acting like she'd just conquered the world. And here's the thing. That's not how someone reacts when they've supposedly survived a traumatic event. It was like she had finally dropped some giant weight off her shoulders, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was seriously off. That night, while she was passed out cold, snoring like she had nothing to hide, I made a move. I grabbed her phone. Yeah, I know, not my finest moment, but hey, when you're married to someone who's acting sketchy as hell, sometimes you gotta break a few rules. I swiped through her messages, and that's when the floor fell out from under me. There it was. A whole damn conversation with some guy named Dylan. Now, I don't know who the hell Dylan is, but judging by the way they were talking, he wasn't just some casual friend. They were texting back and forth about the accident, going into detail about how they pulled it off, like this was their master plan. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't an accident. This was a freaking con job. A carefully planned, step-by-step insurance scam. And my lovely wife had been in on it from the start. It wasn't just the money, though. The real kicker? They were planning something bigger. The texts hinted at Lisa packing her bags and running off, with Dylan. So yeah, turns out my wife wasn't just scamming the insurance company. She was about to scam me out of my own life. I sat there, in the middle of the night, with her phone glowing in my hands, feeling like I'd just been run over by a freight train. Lisa had been plotting this for who knows how long, and I'd been completely clueless. It was like watching your house burn down and realizing you're the one who lit the match without even knowing it. But now I knew, and everything was about to change. All right, so after the whole phone fiasco, I wasn't done snooping. Nope, not even close. If my wife was planning some escape act, I needed to know everything. So, like a total spy, I started digging through her stuff. And guess what I found? Plane tickets. Yep, 2 shiny one-way tickets. Except, plot twist, they weren't for 2. They were for 1. Lisa's name was plastered on both, clear as day. That's when the reality slapped me harder than a hangover after tequila shots. She wasn't just planning on bailing with Dylan, she was planning on bailing solo. No new beginning with me. Nope. In her perfect little world, I was getting left behind like some forgotten bag of trash. All those talks about us being a team? Yeah, turns out I was never part of the game plan. My blood was boiling. I mean, it's one thing to scam insurance, but ditching me? Leaving me high and dry like I'm some disposable extra in her twisted soap opera? Hell no. That's where I drew the line. So, I waited. I waited for the morning to come, the sun to rise, and for her to wake up, all smug and clueless. And then I hit her with it. No warning. Lisa, are you planning on running away? Boom. Her face went from calm to, oh shit, real quick. For a split second I saw it. Pure panic. Like a deer caught in the headlights of an 18-wheeler. But being the snake she is, she recovered fast. Too fast. Her face flipped into that smug look I'd grown to hate over the last few days, and she had the audacity to laugh. Mark, she said with this fake sweet voice, you've completely lost it. Are you seriously accusing me of running away? What are you, paranoid? She was straight up gaslighting me, right to my face. I knew the truth, and here she was trying to convince me I'd lost my mind. But the joke's on her. I wasn't backing down. Not this time. If she thought she could gaslight her way out of this, she had another thing coming, because now I had the upper hand, and she didn't even know it. All right. So after that little talk with Lisa, I knew one thing for sure. Reasoning with her was as useful as a waterproof towel. She was dead set on her plan, and if I didn't act fast, I'd be left with nothing but an empty bank account and the echo of her betrayal. Nah, screw that. If she was playing dirty, it was time to outplay her at her own game. So, I went straight to my lawyer. I walked into his office like a man on a mission. Listen, I said, dropping all the evidence I had, the texts, the plane tickets, all of it, right on his desk. My wife's trying to scam me, and I need to stop her before she takes off with my money. My lawyer, a guy named Carl, who looked like he hadn't had a day off since the 90s, raised an eyebrow and said, "You're not the first guy to come in here with this story, but let's make sure you're the last one she screws over." Carl didn't waste any time. We started crafting a plan that would make sure Lisa's little escape act didn't end with me broke and homeless. First step, locking down our joint accounts. I made sure she couldn't touch a dime without me knowing. Then we moved to the bigger stuff, making sure all my personal assets were secured. She wasn't taking anything from me. If she thought she could just waltz out of my life with a fat check, she was in for a rude awakening. Meanwhile, Lisa was off in her own little world, completely oblivious to the fact that I was 10 steps ahead of her. She was glued to her phone, texting Dylan nonstop. And yeah, I kept tabs on that too. Every time her phone buzzed, I knew she was talking to that slimy dirtbag, plotting how much money they could grab before they skipped town. They were like 2 criminals who thought they'd cracked the code to the perfect heist. But the kicker? Watching her sit there, smiling at her phone like she'd just won the lottery, knowing that her little fantasy was about to come crashing down. She was so wrapped up in her own bullshit that she didn't even notice I was pulling the rug right out from under her. It was wild, man. living with someone who was not just lying to me, but actively plotting to rip me off. Every time I saw her, it was like I was looking at a stranger. And it wasn't just the betrayal. It was the audacity. She thought she could get away with it, like I was some clueless idiot who'd just let her walk out the door with everything I owned. But not this time. I was ready for her. And the best part? She had no idea what was coming. The day before Lisa's big escape, I pulled the trigger on my plan. And let me tell you, it was chef's kiss perfect. First, I blocked every single one of our joint accounts. The bank accounts, savings, even the petty cash. If she thought she was leaving with anything more than the clothes on her back, she was in for the rudest awakening of her life. Then, just for fun, I cut off all her credit cards, every single one. Her shopping spree fantasy? Yeah, that was dead in the water. She found out about it the next morning. And dude, the meltdown was spectacular. I mean, she lost her damn mind. There she was, stomping around the house, screaming like I'd just murdered her puppy or something. "You ruined my life!" she shrieked, as if I hadn't just caught her red-handed, plotting to dip out with all my cash. I stood there, leaning against the kitchen counter, just watching her unravel. She's throwing insults at me like they're gonna sting, but all I could do was smile. Because honestly, the irony was too good. "Ruined your life?" I said, barely able to hold back my laughter. "Lisa, sweetheart, you did that all by yourself. I just hit the brakes before you could finish the job." She threw one last dramatic fit, tears and all, like full-on Hollywood-style breakdown. But I wasn't fazed. At this point, it was like watching a really bad soap opera, and I was the only one who knew how it was going to end. So I just let her scream. Because little did she know, I wasn't done yet. The cherry on top of this whole disaster? That came when I made my final move. After she stormed off to pack her bags, probably thinking she could still salvage her little getaway, I made a quick call. Not to a friend, not to a lawyer. Nope. I dialed up the cops. "Yeah, I've got a tip-off about some insurance fraud. My wife's been faking accidents, and she's planning on skipping town." Fast forward a few hours, and I'm getting updates from the airport. Lisa's all dressed up, probably thinking she's about to hop on a plane to start her new life. But guess what? The second she hit security, the cops were waiting. They cuffed her right there in front of everyone, like the pathetic scam artist she was. Her escape plan? Collapsed faster than a house of cards in a hurricane. And me? I was at home, feet up, enjoying the sweet, sweet taste of revenge. So here I am, solo, and honestly, I've never felt lighter in my life. Yeah, Lisa's facing some serious jail time for fraud, and honestly, I couldn't care less. I mean, the woman was ready to ghost me, rob me blind, and ride off into the sunset with her sleazy partner in crime. Now she's sitting in a cold cell, probably regretting every stupid move she made. Karma's a bitch, right? I might have lost a wife, but let's be real. Was she ever really a wife? Nah, more like a con artist playing house. But what I got in return? My dignity, my money, my sanity. Hell, I even got the car back, and the insurance didn't pay her a cent. Can't say I'm heartbroken about it. Now what's next for me? Who knows, bro? I'm just glad I'm not living with someone who is plotting my downfall every day. Waking up in my own bed, in my own house, without some snake eyeing my savings. That's what freedom feels like. It's like the weight of the world got lifted off my shoulders. Don't get me wrong, there's still some mess to clean up. Divorces aren't exactly fun, but compared to the shitstorm I just survived, this is a breeze. I dodged a bullet, maybe even a whole freaking arsenal. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. You live with someone for years, trust them with your life, and then, boom, they turn around and try to screw you over. But whatever, I'm not dwelling on it. Moving forward, no more blind trust, no more perfect anything. Just me, myself, and a big fat reality check. I don't know what the future holds, but it's got to be better than living in a house of lies. And hey, now that I'm free, the world's looking a whole lot brighter. No scheming wife, no stolen cash, just me and my freedom. Feels good, man.